In 2008, you returned to the world of prostate cancer advocacy after something of a layoff. Why was that?
Well, once upon a time, back in 1994, I built a website as an experiment. And it turned out to be a very successful experiment. And unfortunately, the whole thing was hand-built. So I think it was about 2000, it got a virus in it and blew the whole thing up. And I thought, oh good, I can take a rest. And then Dr. Krongrad contacted me, I think it was sometime in late 2007, and said, we should really do this again. And I said, oh, do we have to? And he said, yes. So I did.
You have put a great deal of effort into getting the different sectors of the prostate cancer advocacy community to work more closely together now and into the future. Can you talk a little bit about that?
It's been a long time for the advocacy communities to start to realize the power of working together in order to accomplish the same sorts of outcomes for prostate cancer as women have achieved for breast cancer. If the breast cancer community wants something to happen in Congress, they can get thousands of people to call their Congress people. The prostate cancer advocacy community has yet to be able to accomplish that, and we will only do that if all the different groups can work together to meet very specific goals. So we've been having significant discussions about that recently, and I'm pleased to say that almost all of the prostate cancer, different sectors of the prostate cancer advocacy community have come together to try and resolve some of our really rather trivial differences and work much more closely together to accomplish that.
We've heard rumors about something called Prostate Cancer Community Awareness Councils as a new method to spread the word about prostate cancer testing. Are you involved with this? What is this project?
Well, yes, I am, and I can tell you some things about it. The Prostate Cancer Awareness Councils are the idea of a man called George. And George was asked to go out and become a community activist for one of the prostate cancer groups. And George is an ex-Methodist minister, and he's a lawyer. So he figured he knew how to talk to groups of men. So he wrote to all the churches he knew and said, I want to come and talk to you about prostate cancer. At the third church he spoke to, two people came up to him and said, so how do we help you? So George said, well, you could be my community activists for this church, and I'll be able to feed you information about prostate cancer that you can then spread out to your community. So the next church that George spoke at, instead of waiting for two people to come up to him, he said, and I'm looking for two people who can. And two people duly came up, and they did. And so the third church that George went to, a light went off in his head. And after he'd asked for two people from that church to be his community activists, he said, and how many of you belong to other organizations? And by the time he left that church, he had 11 other different groups signed up, from knitting circles to a karate club. And we believe that we can spread this. In order to become a member of a community awareness council for prostate cancer, you have to promise that you will, when you get a message that says you will call your congressman on this day and say, we want X, you have promised to do that, which is very different from anything that's ever happened before. And we are very hopeful that we can turn this into a national movement.